social justice activists, the self-appointed representatives of people who they can't even name. They don't know who they're talking about, but they've decided, right, these people are black and therefore we must share a bunch of interests. And it's like Hitchens was saying. Yeah, it's
racism. It's racism perfectly defined. It's like there are black people. They're all the same.
Yeah.
I'm a black person. I'm just like them. I can say what black people think, and you should listen to me because all black people are like that.
Yeah.
It's like exactly what a racist says. Is all those black people, they're all the same.
Yeah, it's
like,
exactly as Hitchens said.
They're not.
It's a lack of discrimination between these individuals. You know, that's exactly the point. But what I find most interesting though is that they use this as a path to power. They use this is their weapon to get something from someone else. I represent someone else. I mean, whenever they say it, they can say, look, I think this, I'm black and therefore I think this. But they don't. They always say black people, someone else, even though everything they're saying is about their own self-interest anyway. You know, these feminist women who are like, well, I'm a feminist, therefore you need to do things for women. It's like, okay, when you say for women, you mean just for you though, don't you? Because really you don't represent anyone else, and you're just using this as a weapon to get something from someone that is actually unearned. You didn't earn this.
It's even more reprehensible than that because, well, this is the idea of weaponizing compassion. It's like, well, if you were a good person, you do what I'm forcing you to do on behalf of these oppressed people for whom I speak. It's like, it's very difficult to parse through that. You think, well, you know, there is prejudicial discrimination. And it's wrong. And prejudicial discrimination occurs when a person should be encouraged to, or allowed, or promoted into a position because they have the skills necessary to do an outstanding job in that position, and they're being denied it for reasons that have nothing to do with those skills. That happens.
Yeah, of course.
Now, it happens in every society, and we're doing everything we can to stop it from happening in Western society because everyone, right or left, basically recognizes that it's foolish not to make use of talent.
But it's more than that as well. It's it's unfair. Just because someone happens to have found themselves created in a certain way, what's the justification to prevent them from doing something unless there is a real physical barrier? For a woman, she's obviously not going to be a shelf stacker if she's particularly short or something like that. There's a physical barrier. But if there's not a physical barrier, there's no real justification for it.
Well, I think you don't even have to go down the fairness route. You can do it just from the perspective of cold-hearted self-interest and greed.
Well, there is also that as well. Yeah.
Well, which is if someone has the capability, then you should exploit them. But then the reason I'm making
they're
that
going to take you out of context saying that.
Yes, I know. But the point is that you don't have to attribute kind-heartedness to a capitalist system in order to note that it will function properly. It's pure, naked self-interest and greed makes it imperative that if you have a skill, I'll use it. I don't care what color you are or whatever else there is about you. If you're competent, I want to see the damn competence.
Yeah.
And the economics will drive me towards doing that. So the reason I'm making that point is you can reach broad agreement across the entire political spectrum that prejudicial discrimination is flawed at every level of analysis. So we don't need to have that conversation. Everyone agrees on it, but to go from there and make and to make a case that you can speak on behalf of people who are being discriminated against because you happen to be a member of that category is palpably and to derive virtue from that. It's like, I'm against discrimination. It's like, yeah, well, me too. I'm also against poverty. I'm against illness. I don't need to wave a placard to say any of those things because it's so bloody self-evident.
Yeah,
there isn't anyone who's for poverty.
Yeah, you would think that this could just be assumed and then we could move on to the next stage of the conversation. But that's another thing as well. The number of mind readers who take up social justice as a hobby, career, or interest is incredible. They tell me exactly how I think about things. Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you. I didn't know you knew my mind better